And welcome
Hi.
back to the show. Definitely an interesting one. Talking to Sister Sadia Ghani about upliftment and empowerment. That's what it's all about, is, helping those that are in dire need. And I think each one of us serves that particular purpose in our lives. Talking about that, it's about also recognizing the people that really go out there, make those differences, uplift, empower, create the sustainability, but also, should we say, make differences in communities by uplifting women from the different types of situations they face, and also through educating them through the relative topics. So I have two phenomenal women this morning that I'm going to be chatting to. The Group Executive Director of Hadarat Global in Dubai, Dr. Hawa Charfaray. She's going to be chatting to me. Included, we're also going to be talking to the founder of the Woman of Stature Foundation, Charlotte du Plessis. A very warm welcome to you, Charlotte. Assalamu alaikum to you, Dr. Hawa Charfaray.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone.
Thank you. Great to be here.
I'm actually really excited about this morning's interview. I think it's such an amazing project that you're running. To be able to give women that platform, I say, as we believe with what Nelson Mandela said, is you give one woman power and then she powers an entire nation up. And that's what it's about. But besides that, it's by creating those accolades that actually entice women into being able to want to do more, because they feel as though they're appreciated and recognized. So let's start with you, Dr. Hawa Charfaray. Talk to us about Hadarat Global and, of course, the types of things that you're doing. We know you're a phenomenal human being. There's so many different things you're doing. If I start reading out your accolades, I don't think I'm going to have enough time on the show between yourself and Charlotte. You're both phenomenal women doing many different things in this particular space. So let's start with you.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much. All I am is just another woman that has gone through the ropes, and I know exactly what it feels like. So please, I'm totally honored and humbled to be here. Jazakallah khair. Just to give you some insight, Hadarat Global was formed in the UAE, in Bosnia, and also part of Africa. Hadarat in Arabic actually means civilization. And what we found is that in business, both for women and for men-owned business, a lot of the ethics and old civilization of how we used to function in the past seems to have lost with regards to innovation and AI. And we're not saying that's not good, but it's supposed to enhance it, but we've lost the humanity within some of it. So that's one of the reasons we decided to name the company Hadarat, which is going back to civilization, but utilizing innovation, utilizing artificial intelligence, and utilizing and bringing back humanity as to how we functioned. One of the things is that we focus on empowering businesses of all sizes, be it inventors, startups, SMEs, and particularly creating an ecosystem for women where we are able to take their journey, because it's a very lonely one. Those of you that are business owners. And by creating and employing a smart ecosystem of innovative services, we believe that we can create the space to focus on what they're actually good at, which is creating their ideas. So the summit itself is about opening up an avenue to launch where they can come in, launch their companies, create a program where we have investors to support them, because that's one of the biggest challenges of our startups, and especially women-owned businesses. And we've got quite a few good investors that are joining us at the summit who wants to invest in Africa. And myself being South African itself, that's where home is. I love Dubai, I love living here, but at the end of the day, for me, home is Africa. Those of you who's in Dubai and listening to this, sadly to say, I love you all, but for me, home is still South Africa. So we want to empower. We want to look at looking at the startups that are struggling. What are their challenges, and how can they cross-border negotiate businesses? This is what the summit is. This is why in Dubai, and because a lot of them wants to open up businesses not just in Africa, but wants to extend and build their businesses in other countries. And we're hoping that this platform allows them to do that.
Amazing that you brought that up, because being proudly South African, as you say, although you're hailing in Dubai, I agree with the fact of the unity and the Ubuntu, and I think that stuck with you. And I think the grand idea about the creating those networks is so very important, because this is how we grow ourselves as people, but also grow communities and grow nations as such. And it's defining those needs of those particular communities and nations that will actually make the differences. And especially, now after the situations that we face through COVID-19, there's many a light that has been shed of the type of situations in South Africa. So it's nice to see that people like yourselves have come aboard, defined those needs, and said, how can we help to make those differences and change people's lives and communities for the better, where in turn we will then have a better South Africa.
True.
Charlotte, from your side, I think it's absolutely a phenomenal to see that you've created a platform. And I really want to read this out, because I want people to understand what you're made of. It says the Woman of Stature Awards was initially launched because you wanted to identify the communities in which women struggle to reach their full potential, which I think is absolutely important. Many a times, this is what happens is we as women do not realize the types of potentials we have, and somebody else could recognize that potential and explain to you that, you know what, yes, you're doing this, but there's something else that you're better at as well, and that's something that you need to recognize, and then from there get that direction as far as that particular aspect is concerned.
Thank you so much, Nafeesa. And again, to my partner, I can call her my partner, because we've come a very long way, Dr. Hawa. This relationship, I think, let's get back to what is important in life is building good relationships. And I think this is where it stems from, is that when you are doing something with the right intentions, when your heart is in the right place, and you suddenly start to realize that you are drawing certain people into your inner circle because they recognize these qualities and these attributes. Now, exactly to your point, Nafeesa, is there are so many women in South Africa, in Africa, and in the world that are doing incredible work within their communities, that are building really sustainable businesses in various sectors of industry. But what often happens is that only when you reach the peak of your success or the peak of your career do people start to recognize you. And only then is your name then linked to success. What differentiates the Woman of Stature Awards is that we are almost to the point where an intervention into the life of this woman, where she is so busy working at that she is trying to develop the impact she's trying to make, and she's doing it all on her own. Now, we want to be that intervention where we say, we want to take you a little bit higher, as high as we can get you, to fast track your success so that you can impact more people, so that you can make a greater impact in your communities and in your specific sector of business. So we are clearly not one of those organizations that is awarding women who have necessarily reached their peak of success, because there's so many that are doing that already, and it's very deserving, very deserving. But we want to go at grassroots level. We literally go and pick them out of the gardens where they are toiling the soil. In the agriculture sector, they are amazing women, but they are so hard at work that they don't even know how much of an impact they're making, because they are focusing on the immediate community that they are in. And that differentiates our awards. And of course, the mandate of our organization is to be a support system for women who are struggling to move ahead in life, but women in business, women in business, women who have lost their jobs, and the pandemic has obviously created a new world in which we find a lot of these women are struggling. And I don't think that there could have been a better time for me to launch this organization, this foundation, should I say, because that is my social responsibility project within my Woman of Stature business model.
Right. I so agree with your concept. I absolutely love the idea of this, because as you were saying, it's starting off from grassroots level, and it's recognizing, and I'm going to say it this way, those hidden heroes, those hidden legends, those people in the communities that are making such big differences, but yet need guidance to move even more forward. And that's what it's about.
Absolutely, you're quite correct, Nafeesa. What we very often notice that I'm picking up, from most of these ladies, is that they actually have not finally recognized or identified their brands. They have, in other words, not been taken seriously, maybe, and then they lack the understanding of brand development and brand identity. And that is an area that we focus on, and that we make sure that we help them to realize the value of a brand and the significance of a brand. And I mean, that brand can be your own personal brand, or it could be a business brand. But we mustn't forget that as women, we tend to sit or stand back and allow the business brand to overshadow us. But we are, in fact, the business. Let's face it. We are.
That I so agree with you there. And in many instances, I think that's where we actually start losing it without realizing that our identity and who we are is actually that particular brand. However, I'm sure you'll agree with me on that particular aspect of it. Let's talk about Hadarat Global's interaction with Charlotte to be able to create the sync and recognize people, because both you women are so full of essence. It's nice to see that you brought that essence into something that means so much, to be able to uplift and empower women in many directions. And as we know, there's a big gap in that at the moment.
Yes.
And what you're doing is bridging it.
Yes, absolutely. You're right. And I think the partnership between Charlotte and I mean, a few years ago we met and we started taking it from there. So collaboration for me is very important. And this is a perfect example to show that it's also labor intensive. I mean, Charlotte and I tried getting this off the ground, I think, for the last few years. And also, there were a lot of challenges that we reached to get this off the ground, however, because of COVID and everything else. But this is the essence of Hadarat, is that a lot of us as women are contributing to this global economy in creating jobs in businesses. But we're also facing a lot of challenges, especially now during the COVID, and getting your business across in terms of other companies. We've got headlines of trade wars. We've got the pandemic currently, the globalization of business. What we're looking at is that genie, that little genie that's in the bottle, which we cannot really put it back in right now because it's out. And the future of business, unfortunately, whether some of us who are stuck in our positions in Africa, in UAE, America, wherever, we have to realize that it's global. Yes. And that at the moment, the COVID and the pandemic has boosted us into that global environment, whether we liked it or not. So like never before, companies are able to enter markets overseas almost nearly barrier free. We want to open up that market, get people from both Africa. We've got delegates coming from USA. We've got delegates coming from Canada, from Sweden. One of our big speakers is coming from Sweden. Dr. Pierre will be there. He's also one of the people who invest heavily into technology within starting up businesses. So we want to create this platform at the Hadarat Global Summit alongside the awards for not just the women, but also for those startups that are struggling to get off the ground. And I always say, and I think Charlotte knows this, that as much as we like to support the women organizations, women cannot sit alone at the table. So our event is not just about inviting those women. Yes, we have a portion of the event which is supporting the Woman of Stature Awards, and we will be presenting Women of Stature Awards to the industries that are relevant globally. Example, women in oil and gas that are not being recognized, women in nuclear, in radiation, because that's our core business in the UAE. And we know that they existent. So to open that market, but also to link them with the men that are sitting at the table, but these women are getting lost in that process. So it's about bringing them together at one event, share ideas, share challenges, get through the borders that we are struggling with at the moment. And like I like to say, it is give each other an attitude adjustment smack. And wake up.
I like that you say that, because it was just, I think you read my next thought, which is, when you say you're bringing men into the environment, I so appreciate that, because for one very reason, as women, we've been looked at in a little bubble. I mean, I recall when I started on television, I was 18 years old, and people would look at me and go like, oh, yeah, right, she's trying to do this. The accolades that you kind of bring in at a later stage by just persevering and making men understand that it's not about you being a woman, it's the type of credibility and the work you can bring to the table as a person, and that is what is important at this point in time.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's phenomenal women out there doing absolutely amazing jobs. I mean, I was reading the other day, and I'm actually intending to interview at some time the first lady pilot in South Africa, doing phenomenal things, and she's an African woman. And I found that absolutely phenomenal. It was mind-blowing to see that somebody that you never thought would be in that space is in that space. And I think that's what the two of you stand for.
Absolutely. So here's our challenge to you, Nafeesa.
You give people like ourselves the hope to want to move forward.
Yeah, here's our challenge to you. Go online today, go and register and nominate that woman who's phenomenal in aviation. There's a sector that we have, which is women in aviation. Nominate her for the award. Our closing date is on the 1st of March. So please do. We'll be honored to have her to come and tell the other women who's in aviation all over the world who's attending the event. But if I can just say one thing that you mentioned earlier is that, bringing these people all together at one particular platform, it's about that I challenge every woman organization out there and I know Charlotte knows how I feel about this. When we have women-only events and women-only sectors, what we're saying to ourselves is that we're a woman leader, and there's no such a thing as a woman leader. There's leadership. There's no such a thing as women leadership or men leadership. There's leadership. So it's not gender. Leadership is not gender specific. And that's something that I think a lot of us need to start to reframe as to how we speak about ourselves as leaders, as CEOs. We need to come across and say, I'm not a woman CEO. I'm a CEO. I'm not a woman leader. I'm a leader. And when we start to see ourselves like that, others will perceive us in the same manner.
I love the idea, because you're changing the stereotype version of thinking and making people understand that in unison, as whether we're women or men, the things that we can do in a business environment as well as in a community environment can be absolutely phenomenal without having to, look at, should we say, a person and say, well, you're a woman, what can you do? And so I love that idea. Charlotte, from your side, wait a minute. Jennifer Randeep says, yes, yes, yes. Great conversation, ladies. Onward and up. So there we go. This is from Jennifer Randeep. Thank you, Jennifer, for your valuable advice there. I agree with her. Definitely. She says leadership has no gender bias to share. I agree with totally. I think people are recognizing the fact of the type of essence that you represent. So let's talk quickly about the awards and what sort of criteria you've looked at. I know there's certain criteria you're looking for. There's different, of course, environments, from aviation to agriculture to media. How would somebody nominate someone? And what do you think, what sort of criteria would they need to be able to actually get nominated?
Sure. So just
Well,
before I hand over to Charlotte,
okay.
just the reason why Women of Stature or why Hadarat Global aligned with Women of Stature. It's a unique idea in terms of, like Charlotte says, it's not just because we recognize you and we're going to give you an award, or it's not based on how many people knows you on social media and will nominate you. It's not based on that.
No.
The reason we decided to go to Charlotte, there are so many other companies out there, but the reason we decided to partner with her, it is completely adjudicated, and she'll tell you more about that now. It is, audited as well, and more importantly for me is that women get a fair chance to be able to present their business, and when they receive that award, it's I earned this. It's not about who I know. It's not about how influenced I am on social media. It's because it's properly earned. So that's the reason we chose.
I so agree with you. It's all about the one word that is sticking out to me right now. It's the word growth.
Yes. Charlotte, you can explain the process. You're the best at that.
Thank you, Hawa. Yes, so going back to, it's very strict. I want to say that straight up front. It's very strict. It's been a journey that I've been on, Nafeesa, since 2001. I must tell you, this isn't yesterday's attempt at this. I've been running this concept for many years, but I officiated and gave it a proper name in 2013. But what I've realized over the years is, it unfortunately it happens in every aspect of the word. If you give somebody something that they haven't really worked for, they don't recognize the same value in that you're giving them, and it can be in any area of life. We know that there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different award ceremonies every year, year in, year out. So I needed to differentiate what it is that I do, what I represent. And what I've decided is to bring a really thorough adjudication process into the concept, into the process. So we screen these women. It might sound terrible. We have to screen them because they're coming into sectors they're representing sectors of business, which obviously we have to also say that we're representing this sector. We literally are representing this industry. We also have to be considerate of the fact that we have stakeholders, we have sponsors and stakeholders, and we've got other women that are we've got women that are involving their brands with our brand. So we have to be very consciously mindful of the credibility of these women and taking everything into account, taking them through an adjudication process where they have to work to earn this recognition. And so it's not simply just arriving on the night and being handed a certificate to say that you are in this category. You've really earned your space up there. So the day that Hawa and I sat down and we spoke about it, and she got a sense of what I'm doing, she said, "This is exactly what I'm looking for, because it needs to be an earned recognition." And it's beautiful to see how it has evolved over the years. We've had some amazing women being nominated, and finally the winners that we know when they've been handed over that award on the night, we know that they really and genuinely work hard and have really proved to themselves more than anything else that they are worthy of this award. But it is also based on just taking into consideration everything that everybody is doing to make these awards happen. Because as Hawa quite rightly says, gee, we've persevered. Hey? I tell you, we started this process back in 2019. We met, I think, in 2018 and finally put it on the table in 2019. And yeah, so the global pandemic was unexpected. In fact, I had my South African awards on the 8th of March. Hawa was still there. We were announcing that we were going to be in Dubai on the 19th of November in 2020, and blow me down, that did not happen. So perseverance is key, resilience is key, consistency is key, integrity is key, and that is exactly the same qualities that we are looking for in these women, Nafeesa. We want these qualities because we are walking a journey with them. It's not it's not a simple journey for me as the organizer and as the driver, if I can call it the driver of the nominations. We take them on a development journey, and they really, by the time that they step onto that stage, they are, if I say, transformed women in many ways. So it is, there's a huge value that is placed in the development of this woman from the time that she becomes part of this journey. Now, obviously, this is our first one in Dubai, so we're also going to go through a lot of learning curves here. But needless to say, with the type of people that I've surrounded myself with, Hawa taking a risk on me and putting her name to this whole awards concept, it means a lot to me. And it's my first global award, so it is really, really a very exciting time in the life of me and my organization. Thanks to the wonderful Hawa and her amazing team for putting this effort into making this happen in Dubai. I'm so appreciative of it.
Charlotte, there's one thing you said to me that stood out. Take it. I don't think she took the risk on you. It was having the confidence in realizing the potential that you have. And Hawa, on your side as well, I think you sync very well. You're both phenomenal women doing phenomenal things. From the Salam Media team, we'd like to commend you on the types of work you have been doing thus far and the accolades that you'd like to give women that they deserve. So we want to thank you for joining us today to be able to make people understand their potentials. It's not just about what you're doing, but we've now seen the essence of what you're doing. And it really matters to us here at the Salam Media team because we appreciate people like yourselves going out there and making those differences by being selfless and creating, should we say, team leaders and leaders in their own way and in their own field to be able to entice other people through becoming role models. So thank you so much for joining me this morning. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. I wish we had more time. This was a very interesting discussion. You seem to have inspired me in many ways. So thank you so much. And I wish you all the best. And as I said earlier, I'm going to say it again. I wish I could be in Dubai when you do this.
The hint well taken. And if I can definitely just say something, that the event is not just only awards. We 3 days before the event, we have a training program where we're taking some of these women on strategic planning, business financial planning. We're taking them through marketing, innovation. There's an amazing innovation skills program for these women. And we welcome people to please join us for the 3 days training. And then, of course, the 2 days of the conference and the Woman of Stature. All details are available on our website as well, and as our Facebook pages.
Thank you so much. And we want to thank you, like I say, once again, and commend you on the types of accolades that you've created for yourselves. You're definitely our role models in society. You're my role model, my inspiration. And I'm going to keep looking out there for all the amazing things that you've been doing. Thank you so much for joining me on the show this morning. And to all our viewers, I hope you've been inspired to be able to nominate those phenomenal women there, making those differences through these two role models who stand, and I'm going to say it, you are our Ubuntu, you are our stature.
Oh, thank
you.
you.
South Africans, and you bring us together by realizing our potentials. Thank you so much. Wishing you all the best. Love you guys.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So much. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to Salam Media.
It was only a pleasure. I wish we could have more time.
Inshallah, we will. Jazakallah khair. Thank you, Charlotte.
Okay, thank you, Hawa. Bye, everyone.
Nafeesa, I expect an email of nomination, hey, from your side, inshallah.
Oh, thank you so much. I feel so honored. I don't know if I must laugh or I must cry.
Oh, we have a category for media, so we'll definitely send you an invitation, and it's then up to you to accept and submit your documents.
Hopefully, so blown away because I've been on television since I was 18, and I've always, I think the guys, they know this is my happy space. I found my space at Salam Media, and I'm going to tell you quickly why. Because I've always used my career for a purpose to be able to empower, uplift, and sustain. And that's what we've been doing through the show. I've been doing some outreach programs as well through the show. But I've been also with NPOs for many years. And my second father was my uncle, actually enticed me into becoming this
Mashallah.
characteristic person. So I love helping people. This is what the show is about.
Mashallah.
Enticing them.
Well done.
And I say it every week, enticing them into better spaces and better places. So thank you
Mashallah.
so
So
much. I'm
expect that
totally
email
honored.
today. We'll definitely send you a nomination. The rest is going to be
Oh,
up
my
to
word.
you to actually come to the table, inshallah.
Well, thank
I
you
look
so much.
forward to receiving it too, because I'll be doing the screening, Nafeesa. You'll have me on the other end now.
I'm totally honored. I'm blown away. I don't think I have further words than that, but my total appreciation, at least, for people actually recognizing the fact that that this particular show of mine serves a literal purpose. It's not there
Mashallah.
for the
You're doing
fame.
a
So thank
great
you so
job.
much.
You're doing
Thank
a
you
great,
so
and I
much.
don't think it's a job from our side here at Hadarat Global. We really appreciate your efforts that you put into Salam Media, and they've always been a backbone for us, both in Dubai and in South Africa while I was there. So, alhamdulillah, thank you to you and the team of Salam Media. You guys are
Thank
doing
you
a
so much.
fantastic job. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. You almost got me into tears. Love you guys. Take care and hope to talk to
Jazakallah.
you.
Right. Assalamu alaikum. Bye.
Walaikum salam. Goodbye. Take care. That was
Bye.
Charlotte Duplessis and Dr. Hawa Charfaray, definitely talking about inspiring women in many directions. And they've definitely blown me away this morning. So, of course, keep tapping into that and seeing who you can nominate for that type of accolade. Stay with us. We'll be back with you in a second.